You're listening to the Faith Breathed Hope podcast, episode number 24. Today, I speak with wife, mom, and mindset and business coach, Brittany Budd, about her story of miscarriage and the one in heaven. Welcome to the Faith Breathed Hope podcast, where we gain inspiration and motivation from others who share their touching stories of renewing hope and discovering purpose in any circumstance. I'm your host, Christina Reisinger, and today we will be encouraged by another tremendously inspirational topic that will embolden you to release fear, begin taking small steps forward, and move into your God-given purpose to live and serve in this life. Join me for today's story. Welcome, Brittany, to the Faith Breathed Hope podcast. How are you today?
Hi, Christina. Thank you for having me. I'm amazing. I'm so excited to be here.
And I am so excited to have you here. So, Brittany, the first thing I always ask everybody is to just introduce themselves, tell the audience a little bit about who you are. Can you do that for us, please?
Absolutely. So my name is Brittany. I am a wife and a mom to 4, technically. I have 3 children here on earth, with 1 little baby in heaven. I live in Canada, and I am a mindset and business coach for female entrepreneurs.
Yes, awesome. And that's how I found you. So today we are here not to talk about business, but to talk about the one in heaven. So can you tell us a little bit about your story there?
I'd love to. So I met my husband, oh goodness, almost a decade ago. That makes me feel old to say that. We've been married for almost 8 years, and ever since we got engaged, we always said we wanted 4 kids. We wanted 2 boys and 2 girls. And so 6 years ago, I had my first son, and almost 5 years ago, we had our second son. So we got our 2 boys. And then 2.5 years ago, we got our first girl. So we were really excited about that. We were, trucking on the path that we thought we were, had laid out for ourselves, and what God had put on our hearts. But then a year ago, we lost a little girl. She was 18 weeks, and I was at a routine appointment, and the nurse and my OBGYN could not find her heartbeat. This is making me a little bit more emotional than I thought it was going to, because I talk about it so much, but it's making me a little emotional to share with you guys. And so we found out that she had passed away like days prior to that. And so I was snuck up into labor and delivery to have an ultrasound, and they let me know that she was gone. At the time, we did not know that it was a little girl. They couldn't tell. It was too early. So I was admitted and induced to deliver her, and after hours of physical and emotional and mental torture, she was born. And so I requested an autopsy for her, which is really weird to have to do. And because, she was already gone, the autopsy took forever. It took 10 months before I had any answers. And the answers were no answers. She was healthy, so they don't know what happened to her. And also at that time, we found out that it was a girl. Mm-hmm. And so it's been weird for us to kind of accept that, like, that was what we wanted.
Yeah.
But that wasn't part of the plan, right? When you said 2 boys, 2 girls, it was never that one of them wouldn't come home with us.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of been our journey. So we lost her April. Well, she was born April 4th of 2019. And so, yeah, it's been over a year. Like I say, I did not expect to get emotional telling this story. I talk about it all the time, but to just kind of be telling it to you and seeing you, it makes it a little heavy.
I certainly want you to take your time and allow yourself to feel those feelings. A year out is not long. And,
No.
it's very, very difficult to lose a child, and it's very difficult to lose that hope, that thing that you were excited to look forward. We have something similar where we had our two boys first, and we did not plan the four, but we were on the well, if God wants to give us another child, then that's great. And so we had our third child was a girl, and then our fourth child um, was a girl as well. And we didn't know she was a girl, just like you. At 12 weeks, we found out she had trisomy 18. So, I mean, in that particular way, I can kind of relate, although it is different because Isabella, we did get to meet her. So you said that it was an emotional and physical and mental roller coaster. I'd like for you
Yeah.
to kind of talk about, if you think you're able right now, to talk about specifically the emotional side, and kind of where you were at during that time, because many people have miscarriages really early term, and they don't even know. It's different, I would assume. I've had miscarriages before, but I never had to go through a delivery. So I don't know that I could even imagine that pain. And I was wondering if you could speak to that just a little bit, and not just what you were thinking then, but kind of how it's transformed, if it has at all, over the last year.
Oh, that's a great question. I mean, in the moment, I was so mad at God. Like,
Mhm.
why are you doing this to me? Like, what happened? I thought we were friends. What's going on? And I, miscarriage is very quiet. It's a very quiet topic. Women don't talk about it very often. It's not really well known. I remember when I was going through it, like laying in the hospital, and the doctor said something like, I know that, research says it's 1 in 4 women will miscarry. But he said, from my experience, it's like 1 in 2.
Mhm.
And, I you're never prepared to lose a child and to have a miscarriage and all these things. And I, from, the moment my husband came to the hospital, I just got really vocal. Like I started talking about it on like my Facebook page right away. Like, hey, I'm losing my baby. I'm 18 weeks. This sucks.
Mhm.
And I don't really know why I decided to be so vocal about it. And I talked about it every day for a couple of days. I would just kind of report to whoever was following me of what I was feeling. And, if I was sad, if I was having a good day, if I was really mad that day.
Mhm.
And just, it was kind of therapeutic for me. But I didn't realize how many people I was going to impact. And
Mhm.
so looking back, I really believe that God did this so that I could help other women. And,
Mhm.
I started saying kind of pretty early on, I don't want to be, the chick that lost her baby. And that's how people know me. I'm so much more than that. I have living children. I have a successful business. I have such a happy marriage. And, I do live for God. But then I kind of got to a point where, okay, if that's who I need to be for people, that's okay too.
Mhm.
And I kind of got to a point where strangers were reaching out to me,
Mhm.
some to share their stories. I had one girl message me from the hospital and say, I'm losing my baby and I don't know who to talk to. So I thought I'd talk to you. And that was like a huge awakening for me that, like, yeah, talking really openly about what I was going through, even when it was really messy, even it was really depressing. You know, maybe I lost followers. I don't care. I was a light for other moms.
Definitely. And, what you'll find, and I'm sure you have found, that when you start to become of service to other people, you're not only helping them, but you're also helping yourself heal as well. I found something very similar when I started my own journey through blogging. Actually, I thought I was going to do it as a business, and it ended up just being therapy for me, really.
Yeah.
Writing out my story and how I felt. So, how has that? Are you still doing that? Do you still find people reaching out to you right now, Brittany, or are you kind of like, has it changed for you in any way?
It's definitely less so. You know, when it first happened, it was like a huge like influx. Like I couldn't even keep up with the messages of people sharing their stories or just like giving their love and support. Now, because not that I don't talk about it at all, because I still do talk about it. Just kind of like where I am in my journey, because we are trying to have another child. And we have been trying since like a few weeks after we lost her, and our doctor said, do you want to have another one or do you want to be done? And I said, we want another one. The plan was 4 kids, 2 boys, 2 girls, but the plan was that the kids would have a friend. I have a brother. I don't know what it's like to have a sister. And I only have one brother, so he has no idea what it's like to have a brother. And so when we had the 2 boys, we were like, this is friends. This, like, they have this little buddy for life. And so we've been trying to, fingers crossed and prayers up, another little girl that gets to stay for daughter to have a little buddy. And so, every month it's like a new emotional roller coaster of, did it work this month or did it not work this month? And now we're kind of going through fertility struggles, and it's like, is this God telling me no, like we're done? Or is there like some kind of lesson that I'm not seeing here? And so, when it was her birthday, I shared on her birthday. But like I said, I don't share as much because the pain's not so fresh. But I do still have people reach out to me. I had a girlfriend reach out to me just a couple of weeks ago, and she said, like, I think her sister-in-law or her cousin or something was miscarrying. And she said, I don't know what to say. What do I say to this person? What do you wish people said to you? And so I do still get people reach out to me and talk to me and look to me for guidance, I guess. And
Okay.
I don't know.
I'm gonna say I want to go there. I want to know what is that you wish people had said to you. Is it just because usually when I work with people and I think about my own loss, there's so many times where people try to jump in and they try to fix it because they don't, it's human thing not to want to see someone else hurt, especially if you care about them. So if you fix the problem, then they don't hurt. But with grief, that's not true because you can't fix it. The only way to fix it is to bring that person back, and that can't happen. So generally, I would say, just sit, listen, let me say her name, that kind of thing. But what kind of things would you hope people would say to you, or you tell people?
I think when it first started happening, there was pretty much 2 camps of people. The people who were kind of silent because they didn't know what to say. And then the people that would say, at least you can get pregnant. At least, you got to, hear her heartbeat a couple of weeks ago. At least this, at least you have living kids. Like, and things they suck so much, don't they? Yeah. I think we can all attest to that. And, you really have to step into the shoes of the other person because they don't know that it's hurtful to be silent because they don't know what to say. And they don't know that it's hurtful to say, well, at least you can get pregnant, or at least you have living children, or at least this, at least that. If you know someone who's going through it, like, it's lonely.
Yeah.
Like, I was 18 weeks. My husband was not impacted the way that I was and still am. And like, even more so I'm making a generalization here, but if you were even like fewer weeks, like the dads don't connect
Right.
really until the babies are here. And even then, some dads, like, it takes them a couple of days to be like, oh, here's a baby I have to take care of.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's really lonely to lose a baby because you are the one that's growing the baby. You're the one that felt the baby kick. You're the one that, had the morning sickness and the heartburn and the restless legs and your belly's growing and all of this stuff. So, I mean, if you know someone who's lost recently or, maybe even not recently, just be there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even if you just sit there in silence and let them cry, that's better than not reaching out and not saying anything and saying at least to them,
Mm-hmm.
because that's not
Yeah.
what they
I
want to
know
hear.
people mean well, for me, that even made me feel more awkward at first when I would talk to people who lost, because I knew how that made me feel. We had a lot of, well, God needed another angel, or you got your miracle, because our daughter was sick. And that was not what I thought at all. I mean, I was not wanting any of that. But as far as like you said with your husband, I'm going to jump in there and say that everybody grieves differently, but my husband and I did a series of videos on the same thing that you talk about, because I think the mom, just no matter what, is going to feel different than the father. I mean, you carried your child, and I resented my husband for probably probably 2 years, I guess, because I didn't feel like he grieved the way that he should grieve. I was falling apart for 2 years. And so we actually talk about it. It was him trying to be strong, and me not understanding that grief looked different for different people. And
Yeah.
so I think you're doing amazing, at least on the outside. I'm sure on the inside, there is and will continue to be a place for her.
Yes. Thank you.
So I actually have one question right now. What is her name?
Well, because we didn't know if it was a boy or a girl, we named her Phoenix.
Phoenix.
Because
That's
we wanted
beautiful.
a gender neutral name for her because we didn't know.
Okay.
So we named her Phoenix.
That's a beautiful name, Phoenix.
Thank you.
So, now that it's been a year, a little over a year, because you had the announcement for her birthday, and by the time this airs, it will be a little bit longer than that. You know, how do you deal with things like holidays? Because I know that there, even though you are not able to actually have her be here for a while, I know there's that anticipation of, that wish that you could hold her, that wish that you could see her, because I feel that way with my daughter. Well, here we are at Christmas, and instead of having 4 children open presents, we only have 3 right
Yeah.
now. Or my 5-year-old is a little girl, and the big thing that came up with her this year was she missed her sister. Well, she was 2 when she passed away. So how do you remember? She just turned 2. And the thing is, I realized that, like you mentioned before, it's that friendship.
Yeah.
She sees her older brothers playing and sharing a room, and she knows she's supposed to have um, her little sister share her room with her. Now her older sister is here for the summer, so that's good. But we've had a lot of crying spells this year because of it. So, how do you deal with those times that come up? I mean, do your kids have different thoughts on it? Do you share with your kids? I know that's kind of 2 different questions, so go ahead and go down whichever one you want.
So my boys, oh, they're so cute. Kids are unfiltered.
Yeah.
And so for a long time after, I would get the same questions from my boys over and over and over again that were like shots to the heart and like punches to the gut of like, what happened to the baby? Why did the baby die? And it's like, I don't know the answers to your questions. um, and so now, it's been a little while. They don't really ask so much, but we do try to talk about it, her sometimes, especially, they understand that mommy's trying to have a baby.
Mhm.
Like, because I've been taking medicines and, taking my vitamins, and they're like, what are you doing? And so I'm, trying to explain to them, we're trying to get God to give us another baby. And when we had her birthday, they were like, well, are we getting a cake? I said, of course we're getting a cake. And so we went and got a cake and we celebrated her birthday. It's weird. I'll say that. It's definitely weird because my mom never had a miscarriage. So this was like really my first exposure to it. Like, I had a couple of girlfriends that, had miscarriages very early, but I don't know any other person in my real life that lost in the same way that I lost. And so it's definitely strange. My oldest recently told me that like he was cool if he died because he would go to heaven and he would see her. I was like, don't talk like that. You're breaking my heart. You're breaking my mama heart. So kids are really interesting.
Yeah.
With death and heaven, things like that.
In one way, you could look at that and be like, "That's really sweet that he would say something like that." But then I know there's that mom thing that says, "No, don't go there."
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Let's not go there.
Yeah. So if somebody's listening to this right now and maybe they're going through a miscarriage right now, or maybe they have just gone through one recently, do you have anything that you would specifically speak to them about?
Ooh. I mean, I feel like there's no right words. I can say this is all God's timing. That doesn't help in these moments.
Yeah.
I guess just that you're not alone. Because like I said earlier, it's very lonely and people don't talk about it.
Yes.
So I would say you're not alone. And if you feel like talking about it, do that.
Yeah. And I felt very much like you did. I mean, for me, it was more of a burden. Like within the first month, I felt like I shouldn't be talking about it anymore because nobody wanted to hear it. I mean, grief does some crazy things to you. But that is my big thing too, is I want people to know that they're not alone, that they can share their story. They shouldn't keep it in. There are plenty of resources out there for people when they are ready. There are so many people who have gone through things like this. I myself went through 3. Now, they were very, very early. But then I did lose a child before her first birthday. I have several friends who have had miscarriages. So, when you say the doctor says, in every 2, I would definitely think that that is correct because people you don't have to go, through the same steps, at different stages if you're very early. And I think that, well, let me ask you this. So if somebody says, personally, you told me, but is this the hardest thing you've ever heard in your life?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? You're out a little bit.
Okay, I said, was this the hardest thing that you have gone through?
Yes. Nothing in life can prepare you for death.
Right. So, but you could also tell the woman who's going through that right now or who has been through it that there's
Oh, goodness. There's absolutely hope. I think that there's so much power in sharing our stories. And, we talk about like being like in a tunnel, like there's light at the end of the tunnel. And like one of my big beliefs is that there's not light. Like we are the light for other people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so when we share our stories, we give people an opportunity to connect with us, and it's like a really crappy sisterhood.
It is, isn't it?
Someone messaged me and said, like, welcome to the crappiest club you've ever like been a member of, that you don't like, you do not want to be a member of this club, but welcome. And I was like, yeah, exactly it. And it is, when we can talk about it and kind of realize that we're not alone, that's so hopeful.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I had a woman, she would be like my mother's age, and she reached out to me when I was sharing my story, and she said, nobody knows this about me, but I lost a child. And I was like, whoa, like I can't believe you've kept that a secret, and like you feel comfortable enough to tell me about it.
Yeah.
It was really cool that when you feel ready, and maybe you never do, and that's okay, but when you feel ready to talk about it, because it is lonely, but it doesn't have to be.
Yeah. And you said that you are angry, at God. And I can't tell you how many people I have heard say that. And then, the other thing is, well, maybe God let this happen or cause this to happen. So da 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 da. But I think really that what happens to us when we lose somebody, when we lose a child, God allows us to help other people. He uses that pain, for his good. It says that in the Bible, he uses it, to further his kingdom, so that when we do go through these circumstances, he doesn't want us to feel pain. He doesn't want us to be, upset and bad and these horrific negative emotions. But we do have a chance when this does happen that later on in we share our story, that some stranger who's been holding them for years and years and years has the opportunity to say, this happened to me, and maybe that lets them breathe just a little bit more.
I love that.
So I think that's the beautiful story, where no, we don't want to ever lose a child. We don't want to go through horrific circumstances, but we can use that. We don't want to, but we can to influence others and to help other people live better.
I agree. I mean, we can use our pain to completely paralyze us, or we can use it to help others.
Yeah, and I think that's really what it's about. Do you have anything else that you want to share for our audience right now? If they find themselves in a place where maybe they feel like they can't breathe in the moment, or they're really having a lot of anxiety or sadness or negative emotions, what would you like to share anything else with them?
Just that that's okay.
Yeah.
Because we're not expected to be perfect. We're not expected to hold our head up and carry on like nothing happened. It's okay.
Absolutely. For all those women who are used to being very strong.
Yeah.
And it's okay to share your story, right?
Absolutely. And I would encourage that.
Definitely. Awesome, Brittany. I'm so glad that you are here with me today. Can you tell the audience where they can find you?
You can find me on Facebook, Brittany Bed Coaching, facebook.com/Brittany Bed Coaching. I also have a great group, facebook.com/groups/influence, income, and intuition. Or you can find me on BrittanyBud.com. Super simple.
Yep, super simple. And we'll put those links in the bottom. And I will say she does have a great group. I'm in it, so you should join.
Thank you.
So for those of you who are suffering right now and you have had a miscarriage, we do have a grief symposium coming up in October, and we will announce that in the future. So look forward to that. And I hope you continue to be blessed and bless others. And we will see you next week.
And I want to thank you for joining us on Faith Breathed Hope, where you gain inspiration and motivation to renew hope and discover purpose in any circumstance. Please like and share this podcast and give us a review on iTunes. Be blessed.